And welcome back to another Birds Breakdown, week 16. And oh my Lord, we have to talk about this after this game. But I tell you, we do have something fantastic today. Today we have Philly reporter Devan Kaney joining us for the show.
Yes.
Hey, Devan, how are you?
Hi, guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your intro.
No, absolutely, do your thing. It's just so tough to actually have to deal with, talking about all of this, especially after yesterday's debacle. Was it as tough to watch on TV as it was in person?
Yeah, I go in first here. I don't know the rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was I don't know. I feel like I hit a point a few games ago where I kind of lost all feeling. I'm just numb to it. And then you got excited again when Jalen Hurts went in, when we got that win over the Saints. And then this was just kind of a letdown. But in a way, I almost feel relieved. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, whether you watch it on TV or in person.
I mean, I guess it's worse if you're watching on TV because you got to deal with those god-darn commercials, right? But I agree with you. For me personally, it was obviously rough to see just the stuff we saw on the field. But for me, the losing didn't hurt as bad. It was just losing to the stinking Cowboys. Yeah. The way we lost, division on the line, that's really what stings.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, how was it in the stadium? Losing to the Cowboys is always terrible. And then especially when there's a million penalties in a row and nothing's working, what was the energy like there?
It was difficult. Even with it was the first time I was at a game where there was actually some fans, which really made things. Yeah, it really made things a lot different. So there was some cheering. However, it seemed like that for a little bit of time, as it got into the third and fourth quarter, that the Eagles fans were really quiet. And when we were on defense, I felt like you could hear me across the entire stadium because I felt like I was the only one screaming, just to be like, hey. And it was I felt like that, even that little spark, you heard me. I'm like, I want the ball. And next thing you know, that we got that interception, which was, a little something.
So that we have you to thank for that.
I won't. I know. Actually, you have the guy who intercepted it to thank for that. It's it was a bad throw. He should have never have thrown that ball in the first place. But it was okay. It was their one mistake, and we came across that. So Slay was the one that intercepted. I couldn't think of his name right off the top of my head. But so it seemed very. My whole trip, it's starting with the plane, didn't want to leave, and then it canceled while, they took us off the plane, didn't get in till midnight. It just, the whole trip
it just felt weird.
Challenging to say the least. And then to walk out of that
Eagle
stadium.
Season, man.
It's 2020. It's 2020.
Pretty much.
So, and like I said, it was so bad. So let me ask this question. I'm going to ask this question straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want as your quarterback even this Sunday?
If you want to go first, Evan.
Okay. Jalen Hurts.
You still want Jalen after watching?
I do.
And why?
I do. Because I think yesterday's game proved that. And in a way, like I said, I was relieved. And I think the relief comes from a place of the Eagles, I feel like they did this last season too, where all of a sudden, they're pretty bad and then they win a few at the end and people kind of forget about all the issues they had. So I think, regardless of the way he played yesterday or not, I think if Doug Peterson is still our coach, which he will be on Sunday, I think Jalen Hurts should be the starter. What happens after that and after the season? I don't know. I truly don't. I cannot make up my mind. I flip-flop all the time. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Yeah, I mean, I personally agree with that sentiment. I think that next week you still go with Jalen. I feel like you said, like a lot of the issues that are on the Eagles was shown. The real colors were shown on Sunday afternoon down in Dallas. Doug Peterson's play calling again was a problem, and it really was highlighted, yeah, on Sunday afternoon. Like the fact that you get that huge play, Deshawn Jackson with that long touchdown. Credit Jalen for that ball because there was defenders right in his face, and he throws that long ball. Deshawn, it was very throwback of Deshawn in his early days. But that was a great play. But then after that, like we're going back to passing the ball when you're up 14-3. Why aren't you trying to run out the clock at all? Like at all. So I think that, yeah, going into next week, I think Jalen Hurts, you give him the QB1 again. But you've heard me talk about it too, Philly Sports Guy. I think that going into next year, it's going to be a QB competition. I personally, if Doug is back, I'm not going to be mad at that. I just think that Doug needs to let go of the control of the offense. I need an offensive coordinator in here who knows how to develop and how to call plays. Whoever is going to be the quarterback, if Doug Peterson is in charge of play calling and in charge of just the offense in general, we're not going to be in a better situation whatsoever. So Jalen has to be the QB next week.
Well, I don't 100% agree with that, only because I feel like so there's a piece of me that says now that experiment kind of failed yesterday. Like ultimately that it was not Carson Wentz that was ultimately the problem. That yesterday showed a lot more blame on everybody else except Carson. You know what I mean? That you like so, and really to the point where it looked like I was thinking that maybe that they should have put Carson in. Actually towards the fourth quarter, like with 8 minutes left, I think that he should have been the quarterback trying, and it had been a much different scenario had they done that. I think so. The problem is that the coaching staff is very bullheaded across the board, and I feel the fact that they didn't take the opportunity because they were still fighting for a playoff spot, and they just could not figure out, oh, well, we got to send them back in there again. Like that was your opportunity to save face on the whole Carson Wentz thing. Finally put him back in there. The offense is not doing very well. This is a last ditch effort. You want to play every card in your hand before you give it up. And they didn't do that. And I feel that there was a missed opportunity because of that. And I feel that now, even more so, that Carson Wentz is going to be our quarterback moving forward.
Do you think they would have won if they had put him in?
I can't say that answer. I can't say that because the defense was really starting to give up like a lot of stuff. But like when they were still down by 14, when they were down by 14 points and they had that interception and we couldn't do anything at all, the next series Carson Wentz should have been in. That was the moment in time where I felt that was the last time that they should pull him and put in Carson Wentz, and they did not. And the fact that they did not makes me believe that they don't even understand themselves when the sirens are going off. And that starts, this is the first time you'll even hear, that really starts with Doug Peterson. And this is the first time where I am maybe a proponent of losing Doug. Because I've been a big staunch Doug supporter and a big Carson Wentz supporter. But the fact that they can't figure out how to evolve in a game when it's not going your way bothers me. And that tells me that they're not going to be able to figure it out, at least with this current coaching staff. Is it just a Doug thing? Is it a full coaching staff thing? I'm not sure.
I think it is, Doug. Like you think about you hit it on the head right there. Like you think about yesterday, the running game was working, the read option stuff was working, the mesh, like the mesh stuff was working, but you steer away from it for what? Like it's and you saw that with Carson in there too. Like with Carson, you like the Packers game is perfect, right? The first drive, you're running the ball, it's working effectively. Even Jordan Howard's giving giving you yards. Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz are being involved, and then the next drive, you have Carson throwing on 3 straight downs, and it's like it's crazy because like this seems simple, like this seems like common sense, but for Doug, it's like rocket science. I don't know.
Can we go back to something that was brought up earlier and like kind of ties this all together? And I agree with both of you. I think I love Doug Peterson as a person. Yes. He seems like such a nice guy, and I'm so glad he helped bring us the Super Bowl. I don't think he was a big reason for that, and I've realized a lot of that was because of our assistant coaching staff, who we now don't have anymore, and it shows. But that's not my point. My point is Deshawn Jackson came in out of nowhere, swooped in from the Raptors, caught an amazing pass for a touchdown, flipped into the end zone, and then disappeared. Like, that still blows my mind. Like, where did he go? And I think that says something. I don't know if maybe he was having an issue that they didn't announce or talk about, but I think it says a lot about play calling. Same with, oh my God, Miles Sanders. I just had a brain freeze for a second. Like, you run him on like every single play in the first quarter, and then like he's gone. Like it makes no sense to me. The play calling just isn't there. And for that, I think that Doug is probably not the best fit.
We've seen that countless of times. Even I mean, Devin, I know you're new here, but Philly Sports Guy is the #1 Philadelphia Eagle Quez Watkins stan.
And I was just going to mention him.
Every single week we come on. I mean, Philly Sports Guy is a little more animated about it, but every single week we come on here and we ask, why isn't Quez getting more, targets getting put out there more? And again, I think he had 2 catches yesterday. He had a catcher, and he obviously gives you a spark on offense. And why are we going back to him? Again, to your Deshawn point, like he disappeared completely after that big touchdown. And even Jordan Howard, why, Doug, what in your brain says that in a shotgun situation, we should run the ball with Jordan Howard? You need to know that Jordan Howard is a downhill runner. So put Jalen under the center, have Jordan Howard 7 yards back, give him that momentum to give you those 3 extra yards. It's just it's something is not clicking up here for Doug Peterson. And more I watched the Eagles in 2020. I asked myself, was it a fluke that we won a Super Bowl with Doug Peterson in 2017? Because this stuff you see Doug doing on a week in and week out basis, that's not a Super Bowl winning coach. That is not a Super Bowl winning coach. So you're absolutely right. Like it's just not putting your guys in the right situations to succeed, and that is a problem.
Well, I never question winning the Super Bowl, because that takes a lot to happen in a lot of different ways. So, and but the one thing that I can see in comparison with the Super Bowl, as with everything, with the last couple of weeks, is that there has been over 500 yards of offense generated by the opposing team. That the defense has stunk out loud. And I understand that moment Cox left, that's when the defense started to really falter. That we're playing, I guess, our 5th and our 6th cornerbacks, and they just, once you start to get that low into the depth chart, you're just not going to be able to handle, some of the quality receivers that Dallas has. So it became very, very frustrating to watch in total, especially, and going back to my main man Quez, you know what I mean? I pointed out, so of course I'm there with True Blue, who is a real big Dallas Cowboys fan, and he's always pointing out different guys for me to watch. He's like, watch this guy. This guy's going to be able to burn you. This guy's, he's a special teamer guy. He's going to be able to do this. He's going to be able to do this. I turn to him and say, there's my man right there, number 80. That's the one you got to watch, Quez Watkins. I said, watch him blow right past Diggs. And 2 plays in a row blew right past Diggs. One play he tripped up, and that's why he didn't get open. The second one, had they thrown the ball faster, and it would have ended up in a touchdown, but they didn't even look his way.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the same thing with Deshawn Jackson. It was just they didn't really look his way. He was out there a few times, but just did not even garner the look. And you could say that had something to do with the pockets breaking down and things like that. But there were a lot of missed receivers yesterday. Sanders a few times just going out into the flat. There was one specific third down play that I was surprised. Like, he was so wide open and nobody in front of him, and he didn't even look that way to possibly get him the ball. And it was just, that kind of stuff bothered me just all the way around.
I feel like Carson Wentz missed receivers more than Jalen. Maybe not yesterday. Maybe Jalen had a bad game. I sound like Carson Wentz supporters now. There's no winning here, but maybe he had a bad game. But I do feel like Wentz, I don't think it's a coincidence that I feel like we always saw Wentz, at least last season, throw to Ertz, and then this season it became Ertz and Goddard. Like, he does these short, little, powerful passes, and you don't see what Deshawn Jackson did yesterday, even though he caught a ball and a touchdown, then disappeared. Wentz doesn't throw those deep balls, and I feel like so many times when Wentz was in, I'd see the replay and see at least one guy wide open who he completely missed. So in my opinion, I think Hurts is better than Wentz at least right now.
But I think there's something too that we all, Eagles fans as a whole, need to remember. We all were thinking that we could win this division, but I just look at the roster even on yesterday afternoon. It's crazy. We can't just expect a rookie quarterback to carry a team through 4 weeks into making the playoffs. That's why I'm not going to be as hard on Jalen, because as a rookie quarterback with no preseason, getting, instilled into this offense 4 weeks left let's face it, in a season that was a mess for the Eagles, I think Jalen did a solid job. I can't, really knock the guy for anything that he did. He did his best. Fact of the matter is, there was some bad play calling. There was just, it wasn't just a complete team effort. And that is why we're going to be sitting at home for these playoffs, guys. Get those couches warmed up.
Okay, wait, can I bring up a point that kind of reminded me yesterday after the game? My mom was like, how are you feeling? Pretty much how you kicked off this live stream, how are you guys feeling about it? How is it watching at home? And I realized that, speaking of the Super Bowl year, X's and O's aside, yes, I'm sure that has something to do with it. There was an undeniable energy around the team. And I'm not even trying to sound all new age, but you know what I mean? They were clicking.
Yeah.
There was something that was working where they were fun to watch. And I was like, the Eagles haven't been fun to watch in at least 2 seasons, especially not this season. But you forget what that's like, having even just special teams and offense that makes exciting plays, more than once a quarter. And I think it's just finding a way to get back to that, stats and everything aside and quarterback aside, there was an energy, and I don't know what changed. I know we lost players, we lost some veteran players, but I missed that. And I think that had a lot to do with that magic year that we won the Super Bowl.
I agree with that. So, and I'm going to jump right on in this. So the one thing that everybody, that everybody kind of dismissed, and they reported it a couple of times, but they never really went into any depth, mostly because of just the climate of the world that we live in, was that in 2017, there was a big religious aura of the team. Both Carson Wentz is a very religious guy. You had Frank Reich, who was a very religious guy. You had Nick Foles, who claims to want to be a pastor once he leaves football. And they were baptizing guys every week. So it was when you have everybody on the team focused and pulling in one direction for any reason whatsoever, I'm a firm believer that actually starts to play. You know what I mean? And when you got everybody believing the same exact thing, you can move mountains, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to do so. And that's what happened in 2017. In 2018, that was skewed some to the point that they had just won the Super Bowl, and the moment Carson Wentz came back in there, he tried to win the Super Bowl with every pass. And it wasn't until Nick Foles came back where he was more of the calm than then, hey, we got to do this. We got to do this. Like they said, he didn't have that. He had just won the Super Bowl, so he didn't have to feel like he had everything to prove and every pass to prove it. And that's where 2018, he became more of a calming voice, where towards the end of the season, we were able to get into the playoffs and work our way back, to the Saints game, and then lose that game, through Alshon Jeffrey's hands. That all being said, last year was a fight up until the point that we got rid of Aguilar and Jeffries, and went with no-name guys who didn't have any people. Nobody had any type of film on, and we were able to pull that off with a ragtag team. And this year, now everybody's got all the film. You know what I mean? We didn't have any special guys to bring in at the end. We didn't have any, magic quarterback, even though we tried to do that. Just that wasn't there. And I feel like that there is a lot to be said on that. And that's a culture thing. And I've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that when the culture starts to turn, then it's really hard to get it to turn back. And that's the one thing that I felt with all the penalties that happened on offense. I'm sorry. I'm not sad to see Zach Ertz go now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that he had 2 drops, the fact that he had an offsides penalty. Yeah, just like it's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And you're crying about wanting more money?
He didn't look interested either.
No, he did not at all. It's time for him to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's same thing with Schwartz. Schwartz has got to go. He's got to go. I can't stand him anymore. I can't stand watching this defense, perform the way it has been. We have decent guys on defense, and I feel like that if we blitzed on occasion, that maybe, so we blitzed and went man, and these guys all know how to cover man, but they don't do that. They all do cover twos and, these zone defenses that have, we've gotten 5 interceptions this year, maybe 6.
Yeah, if that.
It's been horrible. It's just been horrible across the board. So I am in full. Yeah, I'm ready for a full shakeup. I am ready for a full shakeup.
I'm really glad you guys are bringing up the culture aspect of it, because, a lot of people, because I always have these thoughts that I feel like there's certain positions that you shouldn't fall in love with. Like, I feel like you should never pay a running back. If it's like a generational wide receiver, then yes, you should pay him. But like, I'm always like that. And I always pick up what the Patriots have done over the last 20 years. And Bill Belichick gets a lot of slack for, just getting rid of guys when he feels like they don't have anything left. But there's a reason why he does that. Every year in the NFL, things change. Everyone is adjusting. Everyone is adapting to what you're doing. You have to find a way to be fresh. You need to find a way to keep that locker room engaged. And I just feel like that the Eagles just fall in love way too much with some of these guys. So, you brought up the digression of this culture from 2017 to now, and it's clear as day. And all these guys who come out, talking to the media about the locker room, from that rat Orlando Scandrick last year, even Malcolm Jenkins has come out and said some stuff. Will Parks had a whole rant the week he got released from here. I don't think that's just people being upset at what happened. I think that one after another means something is clearly going wrong. You obviously have your core in there right now, like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Rodney McLeod. You got Lane, Zach, and Carson, and Jason Kelsey. But not everyone is from that Super Bowl year. And not everyone understands what that team went through in 2017. So that's why I say, why are we bringing back a Vinny Curry, a Jason Peters, those type of players? Why are we bringing those back? Why aren't we finding the replacements? So the Eagles, it's going to be a crazy offseason, because I feel like a big shakeup needs to happen, but with Jeffrey Lurie, and especially that we have that Super Bowl really, really is going to hurt what we want to see this offseason, because you might see a Howie Roseman stay, you might see a Doug Peterson stay because they helped bring a trophy here to Philadelphia. But man, we need a shakeup here, and that culture needs to be rehabbed. It needs to be rehabbed.
It does. And I don't know. I'm so curious to know. I don't think we'll ever learn what the root of the decline of the culture is, whether it's coaching or players or what. But
I think it's ego, honestly.
Ego from who, though? Carson? Because I feel like there is a clear difference, and I felt this the year of the Super Bowl too with Foles, where when Carson is not playing, and I felt it this year with Jalen Hurts, when he's in, there's like a newfound spark, like a newfound energy. And, that could be everyone stepping up because they know that the second string quarterback is in and they have to. But it seems like these guys don't want to play for Carson, and they seem to want to play for every other quarterback who goes in. And I don't know, maybe that's in my head.
I think you're right, but I think different players pick and choose. Like, I think Zach Ertz and Kelsey are Wentz guys. I think someone like Alshon, Miles, and Jalen Reagor are Jalen Hurts guys. That, again, to the culture, that is a problem. Everyone needs to be on the same. It's not Jalen versus Carson. It's not Carson versus Nick. It's the Philadelphia Eagles versus who is in front of you that week. That is a problem, too.
Yeah, for sure.
And it seems that it's not getting any better. And so let's face it, Howie's not going nowhere.
I think you're right.
So, and that brings us now to, let's go to Doug or the co-head coaches, because this is an offense and defensive head coach, and is it both of them should go? The offensive coordinator, I am not a big fan of. All right, let's make what's his name?
Gangarello or Press Taylor?
No, the offensive coordinator. Staley, Deuce Staley, offensive coordinator. No, I don't think that he's the answer, because if he was the answer, he'd have done things differently. Real leadership, in the lack of it, steps up. And the fact that nobody really stepped up here, it kind of tells me a lot of things. You know what I mean? And that's, I feel like that was maybe, I guess, the mindset of this team. This mindset of 2020 was, it's 2020. You know what I mean? So, and that's how it's been going. Where I look at the Chiefs and they haven't missed a beat, that they are having bad games and still winning. And that's that. And then you look at the Steelers, even, where they win 11 straight. They're faced with adversity, losing 3 in a row, and then they come back to win a game that they really should have lost yesterday. And again, that has to do with getting in the ears of your players and making things happen. And the fact that we aren't able to make things happen, the fact that we are in week 16 and we had over 100 yards in penalties, and I'm tired of hearing about the false starts. I'm tired. Like, I can't stand it.
Penalties got to be like, I started laughing at one point. It was like, are you kidding me? You're a professional player. Like, Matt Pryor, I think that's his first name.
He shouldn't even start on an XFL team.
No. It's embarrassing. Yes. And then Zach Ertz rounded it out. Like, come on, guys.
Seumalo. Let's not forget Seumalo.
And then, unfortunately, even yesterday, Mailata, he actually let up a couple of sacks. I mean, it was just, and I mean, he was going against Lawrence, so I mean, obviously he's going to let up a couple of sacks. But I mean, it wasn't as big a deal that he did that. But it just seemed across the board that there is just a lack of interest, and that bothers me, because these guys are getting paid lots of money, and if they're not interested in playing, then at what point does Jeff say, we got a problem. We got a problem.
I really hope he's watching.
Well, I feel like that he has no choice but to watch
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? He had to watch that game. You know, I know how I felt. You know, and I felt like I said, they said when we were on defense, even the Eagles fans were quiet. We're never quiet. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's just when I'm the only one and I feel like screaming, you know what I mean? And I'm being heard. Like I said, I was surprised you guys couldn't hear me on the broadcast because I was that loud and I know they could hear me on the fields. You know what I mean? It was definitely something to, because I was echoing because it was so empty in there. It was, it's that everything deals with it. You know what I mean? It all falls into that same category where, like, the last electricity I felt was when we played the Cowboys last year. When that electricity was in the stadium, when you knew we were going to win that game, you just knew it. There was nothing that took the wind out of those sails. Had they didn't feel that way in the in the Seattle game, in the playoff game, everybody was apprehensive, and that energy, the team's energy, filters out into the fans, I think. And that's kind of what happened yesterday, is that there were a good amount of fans, and we just weren't very excited. First quarter looked great. Even the second quarter wasn't too bad. And then it just slowly, like, you could just tell they were just not figuring out anything. They figured out how not to have Hurts run. You know what I mean? Just keep him behind the line of scrimmage. Just monitor him, mirror him on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and he's not going nowhere, and he didn't.
Well, another point too I wanted to bring up was in the Cardinals game, I saw an emphasis of giving the ball to Alshon. I thought Alshon, I think, had a couple catches, but it was just the fact that Jalen and Alshon were willing to test Patrick Peterson, who is still a solid cornerback in this league. And then, yesterday he gets one catch and one target. Like, I think we can all agree we're over Alshon Jeffrey, but he put up some production against the Cardinals. Why aren't you even trying to give him the ball? Why aren't you even trying to give him the ball? So.
He's been a mystery to me since,
weird.
Literally since the year we won the Super Bowl. It's been like he appears. It's almost like what Deshawn Jackson did yesterday, like appears for a play and then disappears for like an entire season, and no one really ever names his specific injury. And I know he's a lot of money, and I don't think he's worth it at all. And he's a player who I think clearly does not want to play for Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
He steps up like, I think that game, well, obviously with the Cardinals, Hurts was playing. I don't know. Did Alshon have any good plays against the Saints? I don't remember.
No, he really didn't. It was really mostly the Cardinals game that it was more so like Jalen just having the gumption to just test Patrick Peterson. Really, they got Patrick on like 3 PIs, I believe. But the thing is, like, even there was one ball that Jalen threw towards Patrick and Alshon, and it was clearly going to get intercepted. And Alshon was playing a little cornerback, and it's like, would you have done that for Carson, or would you have allowed that to just get intercepted? And that's really weird to me. Like, the difference between Carson and Jalen when out with Alshon, it just doesn't make sense. And there's clearly something inside that we just don't know.
Yeah.
And you're forgetting, yes. So Alshon did make a couple of great plays against the Saints, and that's what brought him back on the scene. Like, that's where you were able to make your
he had a touchdown, right? Yeah.
El Parcero, when he's like, when any quarterback other than Carson Wentz is there, this is who Alshon Jeffrey is, and they got a picture of Jerry Rice. You know what I mean? So there's something to be said about that. But that seeps into a locker room in a different way. That's a poison that starts to, when you see what I'm talking about, man. You see, just those you seize, and you see what what I mean, and just that will. Especially when you have wide receivers that are hearing that, and then they're starting and they start to believe the same way.
Yeah,
and that's been part of the issue and the problem that I've had with Alshon Jeffrey, that he is a cancer, and that cancer needs to get cut away. The problem is that by cutting him away, we guaranteed his entire contract, so we're stuck with him really for another year. And that if we just drop him, he gets all of his money. and then get paid again by somebody else. So truth of the matter is that sometimes you got to cut them cancers out. They got to go. And he's one of them. He's definitely one of those guys that I feel like has to go.
I mean, yeah, look at the Washington football team. I mean, I know Dwayne Haskins is no good, but like now Washington literally has no quarterbacks, but they said, hey, this is not good for our locker room. It's better off that we just cut him and we'll go with whoever we have at quarterback for the last game that can still get us in the playoffs. But yeah, you're right, Philly sports guy. You just have sometimes you just got to say, look, so the locker room culture is more important than the money we're about to spend. So just do it.
Didn't some other coach say that we don't like anymore? Culture, culture, and will beat culture will beat talent all the time.
The Chippers,
yeah.
I think the Chippers about to get fired too.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, he's his time is past. His time is past. You know where he'll go? He'll go back with Belichick.
Oh my God! Wouldn't that be something? Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Philly sports guy. This season semi feels like that 2015 season. Like it just you're seeing like the downfall, the problems in the locker room. Yeah, it kind of feels the same.
I feel like it feels more like 2012.
Oh my God! Yeah, well that's true. Yeah, because we have more. We loved Andy. Kind of, I mean, the relationship we have with Doug, relationship we have with Andy is a little different, but I see what you're saying, yeah.
So, but real quick, let me get while I got a second, let's do our sponsors here. Of course, Wi-Fi, gluten-free, awesome internet, just $55 a month, selling Wi-Fi in Wilmington, Delaware. Give them a call. Wi-Fi, gluten-free, awesome internet. And King Creative, every story has an audience. Let the Blue Lion tell yours. King Creative doing commercials, TikToks, and any type of video that you'd like to have done, especially with all us TikTok people. If you want to get something that done and professionally produced, go to King Creative. The Blue Lion does it all. And then, of course, and I have to give a big thank you out to Vince from Philly Sports Trips, who helped get me the tickets for this game. And we have tickets available for all 5 Philadelphia sports teams next year: Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, Union, and of course the Eagles, including the Las Vegas trip. Definitely go on phillysportstrips.com and check it out. You'll be able to get a there we go. Let's add this one. We'll remove this one. Sorry, we lost you there for a second.
Yeah, it like completely froze on me for a second.
Technology.
But yeah, phillysportstrips.com. Definitely go check it out and go ahead and book that Vegas trip. Everybody's looking forward to that one, and trust me, it's going to be a fantastic trip to be going to.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to go to Inside the Numbers like we normally do. And just to give you a little heads up, Jalen Hurts actually went 21 for 39 for 342 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and ran for 69 yards. He was also the leading rusher. On the opposite side, we had Dalton go 22 for 30.
Don't say it.
377 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 134.7 passer rating.
How is that possible?
And Ezekiel Elliott, 19 rushes, 105 yards.
Why?
He didn't even look like he was warming up. We weren't even sure if he was going to play.
Yeah. Well, we were talking with True Blue. Like, I was worried about Tony Pollard, and then little did we know, like, it was actually Zeke we should have been worried about the whole time.
Exactly. It was not.
Well, I mean, look, Dalton. Listen, Dalton's going to be the reason why Dallas doesn't win a playoff. I think we'll probably get that in a little bit, but I think Dallas is going to win this division, and I think he's going to be the reason why they get bounced in the first round. Like, he was lucky that our defense was literally hanging on by a thread. No Fletcher Cox. I mean, Hargrave has been coming on at the end, but like, come on. And Malik Jackson, I think he's gone as well after this season. No Sweat, who we've been talking about being so crucial. No Derek Barnett, so you're already losing depth as at your defensive ends. No pressure up front. You know, the Dallas Cowboys offensive line look like what they were a couple of seasons ago. And then you look at the secondary. You got no Maddox. No, Rodney McLeod. Jalen Mills is doing, your boy Jalen Mills is doing everything he possibly can. And I really got to give credit to him because I think he's done a solid job of being the leader in that secondary the past couple of weeks since McLeod went down. And, you know, Michael Jacquet, which I put a tweet, because he reminded me of Bradley Fletcher in 2014 when Des Bryant torched him at the link. I feel for him, and I really don't want to come in because he was an undrafted rookie free agent, right? He had no preseason. He is giving it his absolute all. But the fact of the matter is my guy is just not that talented. High on him after the Cardinals game, and I'm like, he just got torched by DeAndre Hopkins, which he does that to a lot of people. But then you look at this game, there was like 8 plays where he was victimized, and you can clearly tell that the game plan was to go and attack Michael Jacquet because Darius Slay, you don't want to test him, and Andy Dalton's not going to beat Darius. Like, come on now. And Michael Gallup looked like Randy Moss on Sunday afternoon because, unfortunately, Jacquet just couldn't keep up. It really couldn't. And that was one of the main issues. Oh, but Philly sports guy, your boy, Singleton, that man has heart of gold. Not only on, but off the field. I love that guy. I really hope he can come back next season.
I do too. I love Alex Singleton. So for my normal full-time job, I'm a reporter I cover pro lacrosse, and half of our teams are in Canada. So I feel like Wings. So many of the people go Wings. Yes, thank you. Got to get this shout out in there. But most of our players, and a lot of people don't know this, and teams are in Canada because a lot of them lacrosse is very Canadian, and a lot of our teams are owned by NHL teams. And every time Alex Singleton does anything, it's like Canadian Twitter and Philly Twitter like combined, and they all just love him. He's like the nicest guy. He played in the CFL. So
it was the Canadian Player of the Year, Canadian Defensive Player of the Year for Calgary. So he was really well liked up there.
Oh yeah, and they all know, like even people in like Toronto, like they know and like track the guys who make it to the NFL from the CFL. Like they. Like literally before I even knew who he was, I remember this one girl in Toronto was like, "Oh my God, you know Alex Singleton? He's playing for the Eagles. You have to watch out for him. It's so cute." It's like he's like their little Canadian son. They're proud to watch him play.
Well, you know what? Especially because there's so few Canadians that make it to the NFL. So, and especially one who actually gets to show up, and like he's, that's somebody who is going to put it out there every play. You see that he's going after the ball and doing his thing. And like, it's, that one play where he was keeping up, like, I'm like, this is a linebacker who's keeping up with with Gallup there. It's just like, it wasn't even Gallup. I think it was Cooper at that one. And I'm like, is Cooper that slow or is he that fast? Like, I couldn't tell the difference on what was the way, because he was actually beating him in the race. But Singleton will be back next year. You can't not. I mean, how do you not have him back unless you decide that you're going to go to even if you're going to like a ridiculous like old 4-6 defense, which I feel like that this is anyways. That's what this is. This is an old 4-6 defense. Yeah. How do you not have him back?
Well, we talked about culture not too long ago. I mean, he's like the perfect cornerstone to build a good culture. Guy's got heart. He puts out 110% of effort on every single down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's why I'm always like hesitant to hate on our defense. Jim Schwartz, I don't know why he's just never the first person I go to when I talk about who I think should go. But I wouldn't like cry myself to sleep if we moved on from Jim Schwartz. But players, like I love our guy. I love Alex Singleton, but I think Rodney McLeod is also a great locker room guy.
Oh yeah.
And I think like we took a big hit by losing him to injury. And that was why I was super, super upset with when Malcolm Jenkins left. I know, we didn't want to pay him what he wanted, but I thought he was like a massive part of the Eagles culture. And especially the year we won the Super Bowl. And you could just tell, like, guys like him and Chris Long, who we lost. And I still feel like our defense has guys like Jalen Mills, I do feel like contributes a bit to the culture. Rodney McLeod. I like Slay's energy as well. I know he's newer to the team, but I think he can get there eventually if we hold on to him.
No, I completely agree with you. It's so tough when you lose all those guys, and your credit to the point on Malcolm. The thing, Malcolm is a leader, but he is a great leader because he's a servant leader, and he is the first guy to get someone's back. If a player allows a big play, like, he's got your back. And you saw how they put him back at the safety. They put him up as a linebacker. He literally did a little bit of everything. He was playing nickel corner. And once Malcolm left, like, you're like, okay, so Malcolm was your Swiss Army knife. What are you going to do now? And I also wanted to bring up the point about Jim Schwartz, because I agree with you, Devin. Like, I know a lot of fans hate him, and if he were to leave tomorrow, I probably wouldn't be upset about it. But, like, I look at what, he got dealt with over these last couple of years. Obviously, his niche is a defensive line. Everywhere he goes, like, his defensive lines produce. But obviously, the Eagles didn't want to give him linebackers. I've talked about LJ Foote here countless of times. Like, why did we cut him? The secondary, it's been tough because of the injuries. Like, we've had a lot of injuries in that secondary the past couple of years. So I think Jim will be gone, but I mean, look at what he's had to deal with. Now, some of those play callings at times, like, I think the Pittsburgh game really what stands out. Like, Jim, what the hell are you calling on some of these damn plays?
And those are the times I get it. Those are the times when I'm like,
exactly.
Okay, I get the hate. But I guess every other time I'm like kind of indifferent. I think he's just been around so long that I don't know, I'm used to seeing him standing there with like no expression on his face on the sidelines, and I'd miss him if he left, but I'm sure I'd get over it.
And we're also spoiled in Philly. Like, we had Buddy. Obviously, I wasn't alive for Buddy Ryan, but we had Buddy Ryan. We had Jim Johnson. So we want hard-nosed defenses. We want some blitzing. We actually saw some blitzing on Sunday because we had no choice. But
they were so ineffective because he doesn't know how to blitz. I feel like he's not even really keen on how to blitz anybody,
or what right blitz call to call. Right, like,
right.
I know what you're saying.
It's so haphazard, and I'm just, the 1,000 yards over the last two games says a lot about this team. You know what I mean? And it's just like we couldn't seem to stop it. And I don't care how bad we're hurt. You got to come up with different schemes, different plans to be able to stop teams. And I feel like that his plan has not been the best. And this was the first game where I felt he didn't have good adjustments. He did not have good adjustments moving forward. And that kind of makes things even more difficult.
Like, why was Jaquette in as long as he was? Like, why didn't you think about, okay, like, Jaquette is absolutely getting demolished. This is like the 10th time this has happened. Let's put Jalen Mills in earlier than he did. That was my problem on Sunday with him, at least.
Well, and there was a lot of that going around. Like, how is it that you're not doing anything across the board in terms of, like, offense and defense? So yes, Jaquette was. I felt like I could have done a better job. And I'm, much older than those guys, but it just, and then there was just certain plays that you could tell, like 3rd and 3, and everybody is so far back off the line, and all they did was just make 4 steps forward, throw the ball to them, catch the ball. Now it's first down. Like, I'm so tired of those plays that they're playing so far off of the guys. It's like this team was supposed to be speed, and I ain't seen it yet. In fact, they almost, the one time that they showed speed, obviously, Deshawn Jackson went for 81 yards, one play. It was a great play. Okay, we're figuring, all right, now we're starting to roll. And then, they said, my man Quez just blowing past Diggs, and not even getting a sniff.
Philly
And hold on. The other thing, did you notice that Jalen's arm isn't so great?
No. Well, that was an
Lots of
issue.
lots of wobbles, and not a lot of strength.
Well, his knock coming into the NFL was he because Oklahoma really is where he developed as a passer. Like Lincoln Riley is doing a great job down there. He needs his credit. But he was not able to throw in those tight windows where you need to throw in the NFL. We'll see if he can improve upon that in these next couple of years. But that was a knock of his coming into the NFL. But really what pissed me off, and I want to get this off my chest before we move on from the defense, is the Philly Sports Guy. How many missed tackles did we have on Sunday afternoon? Dude, like this is fundamental stuff that we all learn playing in midget football. Like, and everyone knows me. I'm the soccer guy here, and I'm fine with being called the soccer guy, but it's quite simple. You break down, you shimmy, you wrap, and you drive. Like, why is that so hard to understand? Like, how many missed tackles did we have this whole entire season? Those are fundamental things you learn as a kid. And I know the rules in the NFL cater more to the offense, but my guy, rap a little bit. Yo, Smeo. Sick and tired of that.
It's been again, that's not something you should be teaching though in the NFL.
Exactly.
They should know that stuff already. And the fact that I guess it goes back to culture, because it really goes back to accountability. And I feel like that there is no accountability for the offense as a whole. And then all of the accountability has to go to Schwartz.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the 1,000 yards in the last 2 weeks, I put on Schwartz's head. And there's nobody else to blame it on. Because ultimately he's the one calling the defensive plays. He's the one just making those adjustments. Like I said, I agree. I think Mills has played probably the best 2 weeks of the year, the last 2 weeks of the season. And he's, of course, it goes for nothing because they're staying away from it. So, and it's how do you get around it? Like he is the voice of Jenkins now on this team. You know what I mean? And he's just got nobody else that's, and then everybody gets hurt. And then I guess it's just we are, the broken winged Eagles, because it's like we should put up an H instead of an E. Because
can we talk about that though? Because even before you mentioned the injuries, I thought of that. Because when it comes to coaching, play calling aside, like we need to account for the days when these guys aren't playing a game, where I feel like it's gotten to the point now, because it's been a few seasons where we are just like, I feel like all of our players are like made of glass. Like they all seem to get injured so easily. And I think it comes down, I'm going to sound like Allen Iverson, but practice. We're doing something wrong in practice. I'm talking about practice here. And I don't know if it's offense, defense, all of the above, if it's a Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz issue, what have you, but there's something that's not working with the training and the practice that's going on. I know this season was hard because they didn't have a full preseason, but just even when they're not playing games, like I feel like there's something that like maybe they're not being pushed hard enough, maybe they're not training enough. I don't know. Something's responsible for these injuries, in my opinion.
I agree. And I mean, they got rid of the whole training staff and started with another training staff, and that didn't change. It's still the same injuries. In fact, I feel like that they've been worse this year. So it's like, what is going to eventually, give here? Like it's 2017, we had injuries, and it was like, it was next man up, next man up. Well, the problem is that when you get into the 6th and 7th man up, they aren't so good. You know what I mean? That's the problem.
Like starting a guy off the street in West Philly to be your wide receiver, you're like, sure. Speaking of, where has Fulgham been? I don't know why that thought like just occurred to me.
No.
Well, he had actually a couple of passes to him this previous game. He had what? 2 catches for 27
targets,
yards.
2 catches for 27 yards on Sunday.
So, again, he had a really good first down play, and then that was that. You know what I mean? It's like, again, he just wasn't targeted at. I mean, the problem is that nobody was being targeted. You know, he was running around trying to find somebody open. How many passes did he throw out of bounds?
Yeah.
Now I can understand that, but like 6, 7 passes went thrown out of bounds. I mean, it was just. It was like, okay, I get it. You know, you don't want to get the sack or whatever, but throw it to somebody. At least give him a chance. Make it a 50-50 ball. You know what I mean? Do something. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say. I felt like that some of the bad offensive play does get put on Jalen Hurts. So I believe that. And like I said, I would have pulled him out with 8 minutes left. I would have given Carson Wentz a chance to win the game. And whether he did it or not would have only been like, it would have put Dallas a little bit aback. You know what I mean? It would have made them rethink for a second. So, and that's what I felt like needed to have happen. And they didn't do that. And that's what tells me that this coaching staff doesn't have an idea on what to do and how to get things done. You know what I mean? Just like I felt like, when we got that interception and such, okay, that nothing happened from there. And then we drove a couple of yards. We wound up getting another, we worked out something. And next thing you know, we are, he throws an interception in the end zone. It's like, okay, maybe after that, bring in Carson. He's like,
after he did the thing that Carson did literally what felt like every single game this season, throw an interception in our own end zone.
Well, throw the second one, like the second interception. You know what I mean? It's just, and then the fumble, which shouldn't have really been a fumble, but it's.
Oh yeah. At that point, it was like, I don't even care. I'm like, just send it.
So what happens now?
Oh man.
First off, let's talk about Sunday. Sunday, we're going to know after 1:00. And as I do this, I have to pay a bet. So excuse me 1 second while I do this. I got to take my shirt off and show. Well, I know I got another shirt on underneath.
This guy and his bets. Shouts to Sneaky J.
So I have to show Sneaky G some love.
God.
I have to wear his shirts. I said that I was going to, bets were made. Bets are now paid. So I said that I would wear his shirt on the show and, give him his praise when.
Jeez, Eagles, look what you're doing to us.
Yeah, it's like I tell you, I have even worse to pay because I have personal Dallas pets to pay. So, that's only going to be one TikTok very quick. It's going to be like a 3-second TikTok with me wearing some type of Dallas stuff. I said that, but they got to get me the Dallas stuff. I don't own a Dallas thing in the world. So, but man. Yes. So I definitely had to show some love. Sneaky G's a good guy. But now talking about Sunday, so at 1:00, they play each other. The winner of that game is going to be in first place in the division till 8:00 when Washington plays. First off,
why are you doing this to us? Why do I have to stay up all day to watch this game? I don't want to.
Yeah, I agree. It should have been a 4:00 game, but it's the only game that they have a division on the line. That's the reason why they're doing it, and it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating, trust me, because I don't want to do it. People who asked me to throw a party, for the last game of the season, figuring that we weren't going to be going to the playoffs, and it's like now I got to throw it at 8:00 on a Sunday night. I'm not really interested in doing that, but we'll see. We'll see. It is the last game of the year. That all being said, do you have a preference on who wins at 1:00?
Who are you asking?
Both. I'm asking both of you.
You go first.
I mean, it would be a non-Eagles fan thing for me to say I don't want the Cowboys in the playoffs. So I mean, I hate the Giants too, but I would much rather watch the Giants in the playoffs because look, we all know the Dallas Cowboys talk the most out of any fan base in the NFL. The last thing we want to hear is all these Cowboys fans say, "Oh, look at us. We're in the playoffs. What about you guys, Eagles fans? What happened? 37-17." So, yeah, I think I'd rather watch the Giants. And you're wearing the T-shirt. I think we met some good Giants fans throughout the year, especially on TikTok. Shouts out to NYS Central or NY Sports Central, I'm sorry, and Sneaky G. So yeah, I think I'd rather see the Giants in the playoffs.
I agree. I completely agree with what you say about like the fan. Like, I hate Dallas fans and I hate the Cowboys, and I don't like the Giants either. But I think like I just much rather see them make it. Yeah. And I can't. Yeah, like that's as far of an explanation as I can give right now. Like, there's just something about Giants fans that like. Sure, you know what, you guys, you had to deal with sad Eli face for way too long. Like, you guys can take it.
So, but then now let's go to our game. So now we'll say that. And so, do you feel that if Dallas wins the game, that we should just lose and let Washington win? Do you feel that we should just lose and let Washington win anyways? That we should, do we want to play spoiler? I mean, and I guess that's the real thought process of all this, because it's, ultimately there is a draft pick now that comes into play. And also the tie comes into play again. Because, think about this. The Bengals
are right with us.
With the win, we'll go lower than them if we lose. That they would actually win the tiebreaker between us.
Well, let me see this.
Here's my thing about people always raising the idea or bringing up the idea of tanking and losing intentionally. These guys, at this point, a lot of them, the guys who aren't the all-stars, who aren't, the big name players, are playing for their jobs. Like, they're not just going to lose. I think no matter what, they're going to play for their jobs and also for respect. Like, I mean, the Eagles have had a really rough season. So I could not see any professional football coach or player going in there being like, yeah. I mean, I know we talked about energy not being there. I think that's different from intentionally going in and losing. So I don't think that would happen. And also at this point, I think Callie is still going to be our guy come the draft. So in my opinion, our draft pick doesn't matter because he's probably going to pick someone who we're not expecting anyways.
All right, so I got this breakdown here for you guys. All right, so here's the draft order right now. So obviously, number 1, Jacksonville, 2, the Jets. So where it gets interesting is 3 and 4, you have identical records. Now Miami's in the 3rd slot because of the Houston trade for Laramie Tunsil. Atlanta has 4-11 as well. The Philly sports guy just mentioned the Bengals. So there's a possibility if we lose and the Bengals win. Atlanta is playing the Bucks and the Texans are playing the Titans. So you got some things that could happen where the Eagles could potentially have the 3rd overall pick. I'm a type of guy, the NFL is not like the NBA. This is not the MLB where you tank because of the way the league is set up. You have to tank. The NFL is not that type of league. I want to win every game. Saying that, I would like the Eagles to lose only because I don't want to see the Cowboys into the playoffs. But something sick and twisted in my mind is saying that the Eagles are going to actually win this game because look at who's going to play quarterback for Washington. Like, just look at that. So yeah, I think.
So hold on, Alex Smith, I expect to be back.
I hope so. I really do.
So did they cut Haskins?
They cut him. There was an hour-long special on SportsCenter, it felt like, talking about Haskins. I don't know why.
Well, because the reason why he was cut is because of COVID, and well, they've had problems with him.
Oh, he was being an idiot.
So and obviously he couldn't do. They tried to do the one thing for their coach. He wanted to win against Carolina, and of course Matt Rule gave us our Christmas present that we just
didn't deserve.
Yeah, we broke. So
Adam Schefter tweeted today, Washington football team head coach Ron Rivera said Taylor I can never say his last name, will play in Sunday night's division deciding game against the Eagles if Alex Smith cannot. So I guess they're just hoping Alex Smith can.
Yes. Yeah, that Alex Smith is going to go. And ultimately they will do a max protect. I don't expect Fletcher Cox to play.
No.
Yeah.
I figure he'll be out. And so to go on to your tanking, to talk about tanking, I'm not a tanking guy.
Yeah.
I don't tank. And I don't consider one game tanking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You tank for a season. Now that you're out, why ruin a good thing? You know what I mean? Ultimately, I don't think we're going to get the 3rd round pick. I don't think their 3rd pick in the draft. I think that we're going to wind up probably at number 5 because I'm not sure who the Bengals are playing, but
I can find out right now for you.
And so 5 or 6, and ultimately it's. I guess we can hope Atlanta wins, and Atlanta would be able to jump us because. I think that coach is probably going to get fired too.
So the Philly sports guy, here's the problem. Cincinnati is playing Baltimore, and if I'm not mistaken, they don't have things wrapped up, right, in the playoffs?
Baltimore is now in the playoffs, but they are not finalized because you have 4 teams that are 11 or 10 and 5, and this year specifically is the anomaly year where you could have a team go 11 and 5 and not make the playoffs.
Damn, it happens.
So there's a few anomalies, and that has to do also with the fact that that we stink, that our division stinks. So, because that's why you're going to have 3 teams come out of the AFC Central because we won. I think.
Wait, did you just call it the AFC Central?
Isn't that what it is?
Wow, that's some throwbacks right there.
What are they calling that? Is it the
AFC North?
AFC North?
No, just to remind me, before the Texans, when it was the AFC. Well, we had the East, the Central, and the West, right?
I think so. With all 5, I guess they had 5. They had 5 in those divisions. So yeah,
great throwback.
Yeah, the Norris division. The AFC Norris. But either way, so you have 3 teams going out of there because I think as a whole. They just about swept us. I think that there was 3 games that we won against their division. So it's, that's the thing that comes into play there. So everybody else had to catch up with that type of play, and they're not doing it. Even Tennessee looked horrible last night against Green Bay. And I think is that the cold? Is that the weather?
Just Aaron's hot right now. Aaron he's getting hot at the right moment. It's rough.
He's an MVP guy. Again, my thought is that I think Washington going in would be a nice story for Alex Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just that if I'm going to put a Disney spin on things, but short of that, you know what I mean?
We all agree that it doesn't really matter because our division is so bad. No matter who goes, they're not gonna last long.
I don't think so. I don't think.
Yeah, the problem is I think they make it into week 2 of the playoffs.
You think?
I think.
Even the Cowboys would because so what the whoever wins the division is gonna play Tampa, right?
Not set in stone yet, but as of right now, because you still have the Rams.
See, I think the Cowboys are going to get in, and I think the problem with them is that Andy is just not clutch at all. I don't think that he's going to be able to get those guys into the next round. Listen, they have their own problems too. They beat up Eagles team on Sunday afternoon. I know these Cowboys fans are all hyped up because they think they're going to win their 6th Super Bowl, but listen, relax, tranquilo, because you're about to find out that you ain't that good, okay? You ain't that good. So we'll see what happens in these next couple weeks here for the NFC least.
Well, I'm not real happy about the fact that we have to wait till 8 o'clock.
I know.
It might be the first time this season that I do not get dressed up as the Philly sports guy. It's a little frustrating to even say it like that, but I don't know.
And for it to be broadcast to like everyone, we need the embarrassment of like the whole nation in Canada.
I know why they were trying to do that. They thought that, they sent us in as a 1.5 point favorite against Dallas in Dallas, and I got to imagine that was up on the board for somebody to read, over there saying, oh yeah, they were 1.5 point favorites. I don't know. I felt like that it was not a good thing. Yeah, we were not. I don't know. We didn't deserve to win that game. We didn't deserve to win it.
Can I ask you guys something too? Because I brought this up on my YouTube channel. Could it be that we kind of, overlooked some of these division foes? So, obviously we've owned this division the past couple seasons. You look at week 1, Washington, wanted to set a statement right off the first week, right? And they came back in the second half and beat us. You look at week 9, we had a 6-game winning streak over the Giants. And again, those guys came back and beat us. And then you look at Sunday, you're up 14-3. You had the game. You just had to run the ball and continue doing what you're doing, and we blew that. So I don't want to think that, but could it be that we this season, we just overlooked our division foes, and these guys hate us? We obviously, it's a division, we hate everyone, but these guys wanted to beat us more than anything. I just feel like we overlooked some of these opponents.
I 100% agree, at least with the Giants and Washington football team. Because even though if you look back on our division, it isn't super consistent with us dominating, but it does, if you look at the games played and the wins, it does feel like the Eagles have typically won, at least in recent years. So even I know going into playing Washington and the Giants, I'm always like, oh, whatever. I'm sure we'll win. It's not that important. With Dallas, I think it's a little different. With their quarterback situation, you never knew what you were going to get. But I agree where I definitely underestimated, especially a Washington football team. I 100% underestimated them going into that first game.
Yeah.
Well, and not for nothing. Again, their coach having cancer, needing a transfusion at halftime, and that was, again, that was the most inspired half of football they played for the first 8 weeks of the season. You know what I mean? It was like they just went crazy that for that one half happened to be against the Eagles. And then after that, they didn't play very well for 7 weeks in a row. And then and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're leading the division. So it's, and I don't know that it has to do with coaching. But do you make Ron Rivera coach of the year if they make the playoffs? He had to deal with cancer and everything else. You know what I mean?
No quarterback too.
Yeah, no quarterback, dealing with a guy who's, with one leg coming back really and brought his team to the playoffs. Now, is that more a product on the fact that everybody else stunk out loud, or is it, the fact that he was able to keep together his team better than everybody else? That's the hard part. That's the hard part of figuring all that stuff out. But I don't know. I'm frustrated that this season is over. Although I'm kind of relieved as well. It's been tough. It's been a tough season all the way around.
But you have to think of it losing always sucks. But, with the Eagles and same with, Flyers and Sixers back in the bubbles, I'm okay with it because I don't think I'd want to win anyways in a year that, and I know I'm totally justifying it here, but I wouldn't want to win in a year where we couldn't be at the link and we couldn't run out onto Broad Street and celebrate and hug everyone anyways, that it wouldn't have the same effect. So that's my one kind of silver lining, I guess. I'm what, I'll wait for a year when we can all be together again to be good again. If you're going to lose, it might as well be this year.
Well, and I can appreciate that, but I tell you what, if we were going to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, there was nobody that was going to be able to stop me from running out on the broad street and going crazy.
I'm sure we still would, but still a
right. Just everybody better be wearing their masks.
Yeah, and masks. Yeah.
So, but that's I hear you. I hear you. It's who knows when this is going to end, though. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to get into that. It's just, it looks like all right. We're already. I mean, they got basketball started, up until right now. So they got nobody that's got any COVID cases. And then you got hockey that's going to get started, and they're going to do, half in Canada or quarter in Canada and everybody else in the United States. So you brought up lacrosse. What's lacrosse doing? Are they going to have a season?
So we are trying to figure it out right now. The biggest issue for my league, and it's similar to what the NHL went through, is the border closure, which is why the NHL just did a complete division realignment. So our plan is to start in April. We usually start in November. So we usually run like pretty much same as NHL, but we start a little bit after them. So we're not starting until April. So whether we play in a bubble in Canada in April, or we actually get to play, in arenas with fans watching is, I think, being determined like as we speak.
This is a big year for the Wings, right? Aren't they going all in this year, if I'm not mistaken?
The Wings?
Yeah, didn't they make some big signings to bring in?
Yeah, they did. Paul Day is their general manager and head coach, and he made some moves. So it kind of sucks, like seeing him get all these amazing players, and we still haven't gotten to watch them play. So hopefully soon. So
I'm assuming you'll be covering it from here in the States, if they do go to Canada.
I work for the league as a whole. Our headquarters are in Philly, and then I'm also the sideline reporter for the Wings. So if we do the bubble, then I'll go to Toronto. You can get like work visas to cross the border. But
so you wear a bunch of hats for that league.
What?
So you wear a bunch of hats for that league.
I do. I wear tons of hats.
Is Sakevich still? Is he the commissioner?
He is. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're a big union person. So
I remember those days. No, I'm glad he's doing a good job with the lacrosse league. It's unfortunate what happened with the union, but I don't really fault him too much for it. So I'm glad he's doing well with the lacrosse league. We definitely need it now. Obviously, I grew up in the burbs. Lacrosse is really big in the suburbs, especially around this area. I knew a lot of my buddies played it. I wasn't really into it. But I do think that it's a sport that can grow within this country because you have kids in certain areas that they live in that lacrosse is big. So I think it can grow. And, if it's Philly, it's for me. Even if it's the Fusion, even if it's the Wings, I will back it up for sure. But, show some love to the lacrosse league, guys. Show some loving.
Yeah, NLL and the Philadelphia Wings. The next time we play at the Wells Fargo Center, you guys should come.
I was asked to come now, and I haven't made it to the Wings game as the Philly sports guy because Chopper goes there, and I've known Chopper from when the Wings got started out there and such. So I haven't gone there. However, somebody was asked me to go. They're like, "Come on, you're not going to go give love to the Wings?" Like, of course I'm going to go give love to the Wings. So
I'm always ready. I'm ready right now. Let's go.
Wow, look at that.
Let's go. I'm ready.
But it's a shame that I'd be really excited to get them back up off the ground again. It seems like that it's such the hard part is that it's other than Philadelphia, because Philadelphia has a fantastic fan base, that the smaller markets are harder to probably like, what are you going to do with their fans? Like, and is it a money loser to get the season up and off the ground? That's money really plays much more importance to that sport in comparison. But being from Ridley, Ridley was a huge lacrosse and still is a huge lacrosse powerhouse. And so I mean I grew up with lacrosse. I never played, because I can't catch the ball so I'm not that coordinated, but I wouldn't have mind playing goalie where they could throw that ball at me like 200 miles an hour. I'll just stand there and
goalie. Wow, that's
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. So
you gotta be a little crazy to play goalie.
I played soccer when I was a goalie and fullback.
You just gave me a story idea. Once we're back up and running, we're gonna do a story. We're gonna suit you up and have the guys just shoot on you and see See if you actually believe that statement.
I tell you what, though, I want bigger pads than them, though. Because those guys are professionals, and I was talking about high school kids. You know what I mean? So, but even still, I would do that. I would do that. Let's do that. I'll wear the bruises of shame or the bruises, as a badge of honor afterwards. Like, yep, I did this. Yeah. So,
Okay.
1 minute's worth of shots on goal. Let's see how many I can get. Yeah, they can get past me.
The deal. Done.
Perfect. That's something everybody will watch, I'm sure. All my haters. So, real quick, David, how can people find you?
On social media, on Instagram, I'm just Devan Kaney. On Twitter, Devan Kaney TV, and I'm also new to TikTok, and that's how I kind of met you guys. So, I believe my TikTok name is Devan.Kaney.
Make sure you go follow. Great follow.
See, and I'll have a little bit of an embarrassing story. She just shows up on TikTok and she's putting out Eagles content, and I'm like, hey, I've got an extra ticket. I'm supposed to go up to Cleveland. I have no idea who this one is, who she is, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just ask her. See if she wants to go to Cleveland. Like, hey, do you want to go to Cleveland's game? She's like, you mean like tomorrow? Like, I was asking her at like 5:00 on Saturday if she wanted to go to Cleveland. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's just go to Cleveland. Like, she's going to say yes. She's like, yeah, I think I'm going to pass. The drive is what would kill me. So I was like, yeah, I can understand that. That was the reason why I didn't go to that game, because it was it's not the drive there, it's the drive home.
Yeah.
That's especially after that game would have been tough.
Yeah, like I think if the Eagles are super good and it's an amazing year, I'm down for traveling to games in a year like this. Like, why put myself through that?
Exactly. I've had lots of walks of shame. I mean, that's what I call them. When you leave an opposing stadium, and everybody wants to take a picture still. You know what I mean? So I got to wear the smile one way or another. The mask is usually a little bit better, because then it's like, okay, I'm wearing a mask. Now you can't see what I'm looking like. So it looks like I'm smiling. But it's really, I'm not doing much of anything. But it's, like I said, this season is tough. Hey, listen, 2020 is almost over.
Yes.
There's a piece of me that says the best way to start off 2021 is with an Eagles victory.
I don't know about this year.
I don't know.
And if I may, Philly sports guy, look, yesterday was rough as a Philly sports fan. Watching the Eagles get eliminated, and then I have to watch the Sixers get obliterated by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I just wanted to say to all the Philly sports fans that are listening to this, Flyers season is about 2 weeks away. Yeah. So everything is going to be okay. Let's go, Flyers!
I am very excited. So, and I don't even know what happened with the Sixers last night.
Well, Joel Embiid didn't play, so that's number one. In the first two games, Joel really carried the team. He scored 29 in the first game, 27 in the second game, and it's really you have to find a way to win without him, because fact of the matter is you're not going to have him for all these games. So the Sixers have to figure it out. Toby actually played well despite his hate from Sixers fans. He led the Sixers in scoring. Ben Simmons needs to control that type of game. Like in that type of game, no Joel Embiid, I need him to score at minimum 20 points. He only put up 15. So, and Cleveland is actually not terrible this year. We all thought they would be terrible, but they're now 3-0. Colin Sexton is as advertised. I think he's going to be a good point guard in the NBA. And Andre Drummond, he took advantage of the fact that Joel Embiid wasn't playing and he went off. So, but yeah, we're back.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Devin. Absolutely.
I just have a message for all Sixers fans, because I feel like Sixers Twitter, all Philly sports Twitter gets worked up very easily. It's okay that we lost one game in December. It's fine. It's not the playoffs. We're not out. Everyone needs to take a deep breath. Everyone's like, oh my God, fire so-and-so, and everyone sucks.
I think the Eagles didn't help the situation though.
No, not at all.
But no, you're absolutely right. Last night, Brooklyn won or lost. I'm sorry, they lost to Charlotte after they looked like an unstoppable. They were going to go 74-0. That's what everyone seemed like. And then the Clippers were losing 72-26 at halftime 2 nights ago. So, like Devin said, this is really early. Obviously, Doc is new to the team. There's a couple new pieces, so they have to get they have to integrate those pieces. So, like Devin said, things are going to be okay. We have Toronto in Philly tomorrow, so you guys already know when it's Philly and Toronto. So it should be a good game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they can turn it around, but I am very excited for January 13th.
Yes, sir.
That's Nemo will
Pittsburgh
be
sucks.
back out. Nemo will be back in full force. Yeah. So
You gotta do. I can see you looking like that. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's the joke that I look like Nemo, but I don't care. That's my Eagles, my Flyers look, and
Stay
everybody loves
tuned.
it.
Stay tuned for the Union Philly sports guy. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I'm in talks with them as we speak.
Yes.
So they
Shout out to the
reached
Union.
out to me. They reached out to me because it's funny. I keep making a joke. I'm like, I can't find a jersey extra large, and like, no, we have jerseys extra large. And then I got emailed today and saying, yeah, they don't make jerseys extra large. I was like, I know that. I know that it's hard to get an authentic jersey that's extra large. Soccer guys are small.
I know
So
they forget that the fans aren't the same size as the players.
yeah, I'm a little bit bigger. I had my shoulder pads off, and people were saying, "Man, do you play rugby or something?" I'm like, I don't even look that big, and it's just, well, whatever. People are thinking, what? Like I'm working out. Like, yeah, I'm lifting up 12 ounces at a time. But anyways, all right, we've gone an hour and a half. Devin, I really want to thank you very much.
Thank
for
you, Devin.
on the show. It was really awesome to have you and listening to some of your insight. I love watching your content on TikTok. It really, I tell you, there's a lot of Philly sports content. None that is as creative as Devin's. So she definitely thinks outside the box when it comes to some of the creativity that she has for and some of it's like second and third level. Funny. You know what I mean? So sometimes you're looking at it like, what is this about? Like then you got to watch it like a couple times. You're like, oh, I get it. Thank God it just repeats automatically.
Right. Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. This was so much fun. And yeah, again, I'm new to TikTok, so still learning my way around, but I appreciate that you at least think I'm second, third level funny.
I think you're funny in general, just in the first place. But like I said, those second and third level jokes really put it over the edge. It's more adult humor than the kids that some of the kids that we get. Like I get so much kids hate. It's ridiculous.
I just really wanted to thank Devin because I want more women in sports. I think women bring a different insight to the game that we need. And Devin, you truly are inspiration. I hope that the girls who do watch your content can say, oh, I can do that too. Because there are passionate sports fans that happen to be women. So please keep doing what you're doing. I hope that you can create the next generation of women who do talk sports. So thank you so much, Devin.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. I hope so too. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Well, and everybody, I would like to wish everybody a happy new year coming up here. We got, and then we got one more game before we're out,
2021's going to be better, guys. It's going to be better.
Trust us. Yeah, and it may all start on January 13th.
Ooh.
But all right, guys, everybody, happy new year. Thanks for tuning in, and go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Yeah. Good night, guys.